problems your book solves for
helpful
them, what
for
kind of
outlining?
content. Yeah, but like, have you
How
tried using
deep do we go
software
with this?
Do you
Well,
prefer
it's
pen
about
and paper? Go-to
going
strategies for
beyond
outlining a book.
just,
Share
basic
your
demographics.
tips and tricks in
About
the comments.
understand value, what motivates them, what their
Will be
goals
highlighted.
are,
Okay, so sure. Let us know your outlining secrets.
their pain
And
points,
now let's get back to those
interests,
steps from Molala
what kind of
Media
books they're already
Publications.
reading.
Gotcha. So it's
We
like
talked about mind
getting into their
mapping,
head,
storyboarding.
understanding
What
what
else do
makes
they
them
recommend?
tick,
Well,
why
one of
they connect
their most emphasis the importance
to a
of
certain
getting
Thursday.
exactly.
Now, this makes
Feedback.
sense. So like genre fiction, but sharing our work with or critique nonfiction.
Exactly.
How do we figure
It can
out
be
when
tempting
it's
to
more
keep
about
our writing to
information or
ourselves, especially in the early stages.
That's a great question.
I know that feeling.
Nonfiction,
But Malala
there
Media
are
Publications
different
really
niches and
stresses
interests.
that
Right.
getting
So
feedback
think about it
early
this
and
way, like,
often is one of the best
someone who
ways
reads
to strengthen
personal
our
finance
structure
books
and
is
make
probably
our book
different
is
from
connecting
someone
with
who
readers.
loves history books.
Okay, I can see how that would
Understanding
be
those
valuable.
differences
Sometimes
is
feedback
key
can
to
be
tailoring your
tough to
message
take,
and reaching the
you know.
right people.
Especially
Right, because
feeling
you wouldn't
vulnerable
market
about our work, like a young adult fantasy novel,
Any
the
tips
same
for
way
reading
you'd
that
market
process?
Yeah,
a nonfiction
absolutely.
book about investing.
First,
Exactly.
select
Different
approaches,
ask for
different
feedback.
tones, different
Choose
readers who you
everything.
trust to be
Completely
honest,
different.
but also
But what about other
constructive.
authors in the same genre? I'd
And
imagine
when you
looking
do
at
get
their audience
feedback,
could be
remember, it's just
super
one
helpful.
person's
Oh, absolutely.
perspective. You don't
Studying
have
the
to
competition is like
take every suggestion.
marketing
but
101.
it's important
Right.
to
You can
consider
learn
each one
so much
carefully.
from
Okay, so like to
what
make your
they're
own
all-
decisions about what to
and
implement.
maybe what they're not doing so
Exactly.
well.
Yeah.
And
Don't
check
be
out their
afraid to
social media
measure and refine your
website, how
structure
they
based on
engage
the
with
feedback
their
you
readers.
receive.
Great
Right.
insights.
In fact,
Yeah,
Malala
it's
Media
like market
Publications
research
encourages
for your
writers to
book
think
and
of
your
revision
future
as a
fans.
core
This is
part
giving
of
me
the
so
writing
many ideas
process,
already.
not
It's
just something
clear
you do at
that
the end.
knowing your
So
audience
it's about
is like
embracing that
essential.
process of
Yeah.
learning
But then the
and growing
guide
and
throws
making
in
our
this
structure even
curveball.
stronger with
We
each
can't wait
draft.
until the book is finished to start
Exactly.
building this
And
community.
here's a final thought
We
from
gotta start
Malala
early.
Media Publications that
Why
I
is that so important?
really insightful. Strong structure is
the
not
early
a
bird,
page
the
that
worm,
confines
or
your
in this case,
creativity.
the fan.
It's a scaffolding
Especially
that
in
supports
today's world.
Ooh, I
You want to
like
start
that.
building
Structure
those
isn't about
relationships
limiting our ideas
while you're writing.
while the
But it's about
excitement's
giving
built.
them a
Yeah,
solid foundation
when you
to
have
grow
time,
on.
like nurture those
Okay, I'm
connections
loving this
organically.
conversation. Before
And the
we
guide
wrap
actually
up
gives some
our
really
deep dive
practical tips
into the art of structure
for getting started.
Okay, I want to circle back to something we were talking
First
about
and
earlier.
foremost,
We were talking about how
Social media.
fiction and nonfiction
It's such a
need
powerful
kind of
tool.
different
It connects you
approaches
with
to
like-minded
structuring.
people, and
But
it's
you also
free.
mentioned that there are
Yeah.
common threads.
But it can
that
also
run
be
through
super
genres.
noisy
Yeah,
and competitive.
definitely.
So what are some
How
of
do
those
we
like
cut through
shared rules that every writer
and
should
get
keep in
people to
mind when it
actually
comes to
notice
structure?
us?
Well, one of the most
You have
important
to
ones,
create
and this is something
engaging
that
content.
Malala Media
Okay.
Publications
Go beyond
emphasizes
just
too,
promoting
is
the
pacing.
pacing.
So give them something
Pacing.
Yeah,
valuable.
like how you
Exactly.
control the vision of
Follow
beyond
explanation
the book itself.
Okay, so
what
it's not
kind of
just
stuff are we
about
talking about?
what, but also
Process,
about
give them
when and how we reveal it to
behind the scenes,
reader.
exactly.
Start
Like
conversations
foreshadowing
about
and things that relate to your book.
Hangers
It's
come
like
in,
a dialogue,
even
not
things
just
like
you
chapter
shouting.
breaks.
Because a well-placed
Exactly.
chapter
Showing
break
your
can
personality,
be
what
like
you're
a
passionate
Okay,
about.
so
your
pacing
unique
is
perspective.
definitely
Right.
something I've
You're
struggled
letting
with in my
those
own writing.
potential
Like,
readers
I tend
see
to either through who are person. Now, have you seen
scenes or
any examples of this that
with
resonated with you? Like,
Any
what
tips
kind
for
of
finding that
engaging
sweet
content really
spot?
stands out?
Well, one
Personally,
helpful
I
tip
love
from
when
Malala
authors
Media
share
Publications
little
is to
bits
think
about
of your
their
book as a
research.
series
Oh, yeah.
of
Especially if
peaks
it's
and
like
valleys.
Peaks and
Quirky,
valleys.
Yeah, like you want to have
facts
moments of
or
high
funny
tension
anecdotes
and
or even things like
followed
followed
by
by
moments
moments
of
of reflection,
ask me anything session
or slower
where
position.
readers can give
So it's all about
feedback, help choose
creating
cover
that very
designs,
readers
even
engaged.
influence
Exactly.
character
Makes
names.
sense.
Oh, that's awesome.
Another
It makes
shared
them feel like they're part
principle
of the
that
process.
Malala Media
Exactly.
Publications
What about
talks
you? What
about
kind
is
of online
clarity.
content makes
Oh
you want
yeah,
to support?
clarity is
Share your
super
thoughts in the comments.
So we're
We'd
talking
love to
about
hear from
writing
you.
in a way
Yeah,
that's
let us know.
easy
Now,
and even
besides
when
social
we're dealing
media,
with
the
complex
guide
ideas.
also talks about creating a
and this
website or
applies to
blog.
both fiction and
I can see why that would be
nonfiction.
important.
Oh, for
Right?
sure.
Like
It's your
in
home
fiction,
base
we need
online.
to create a world
Right.
that makes
You can
sense to
share
the
longer
reader,
form
even if
content,
it's like
build
a
an email
fantastic world.
offer
Right,
free
and in
downloads.
nonfiction,
It
we need
becomes
to
like
make
a
sure the
destination for
information
your
is
fans.
presented in a
It makes
clear
sense.
and concise
But what
way.
about
Even if we
super
have the best
tech-savvy?
ideas in the world, building a website,
It doesn't matter if we
can
can't
feel
communicate
pretty
those
daunting.
ideas effectively.
Oh, I totally get it. But
to the
honestly,
reader.
there are so
Exactly.
many
Well, and that's
easy
where
to
use
dive.
things
Where
like
we
transitions
platforms
and
that
word
like to
choice,
visuals
the
can really
nitty-gritty of all
And
sorts of
that's
topics.
what
We often talk about.
And today we're going to
show
talk
don't
about
you
something
control
that
the
I know
narrative.
a lot of you
You
are
show
super interested
And
how
that's
you want
principle
to,
applies
and
to
you
knowledge.
build
The
a
right
direct
genre
connection
for
with
your
your
totally.
audience.
Instead of
So
just like you're
in
not at
facts,
the mercy
we
of
need to
social
find
media
ways to get those
algorithms
facts
that
to
can be
life.
so
Exactly.
unpredictable.
And that's where the art of
Exactly.
storytelling
So,
and algorithms
to help us
serve.
along the way, we've got a guy
Also
who's going to be
emphasize
diving
building
an
an
email
email
into,
into,
and that's
why is
how
email
to choose the
so
right
much
genre.
about the power
It
of
seems
for
like
everyone's
everyone's
all
all
about
about
instant
before we
messaging.
go,
I'll
leave
leave
our
our
media
listeners
based
Email is still one of the best
by
ways to
Malala
connect
Media
with your most loyal
Publications.
fans.
Okay.
It gives you a direct
They do.
line
They
to
do.
them.
They always know
Just
what they're
one to
talking about.
disappear.
So, whether you're actually
Updates,
writing a book,
exclusive.
right,
What do you
love
think they
reading
mean?
and you're
Writing
killing it.
algorithms
What-
or
It's
even
about how the whole.
notifications.
It's like a
I think they
VIP
mean
club for your
that
fans.
structure
Exactly.
But how
should
do
work
you get
so
people to actually
seamlessly, the
sign
reader
up for your email list? I mean, X is already overflowing.
You have to offer them something really valuable. Think about what your ideal reader would love. Maybe it's a free chapter, a downloadable resource that connects with your book's theme, or even a sneak peek behind the scenes of your writing process.
Right, so it's about that exchange of value.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've got social media, a website or blog, an email list, all great tools for connecting with potential readers. But what about taking it a step further and making those early supporters feel extra special, like they're part of an exclusive club?
That's where it gets really interesting. The guide talks about the power of exclusivity.
Ooh, I like that.
You're giving those early supporters something they can't get anywhere else, making them feel like they're in the know.
It's like a sneak peek behind the curtain. People love that.
For sure.
What kind of strategies are we talking about here?
Think pre-order bonuses, signed copies, limited edition swag, maybe a bonus chapter, even personalized thank you notes in the book. Anything that makes those early supporters feel appreciated.
Oh, I've totally pre-ordered a book just to get a limited edition bookmark before. It's the little things sometimes.
Exactly.
But, like, how much should we actually give away? Is there a risk of giving away too much and devaluing the book itself?
Yeah, it's a balancing act. You want to offer enough to make it enticing without overshadowing the final pretend that enhances the reading experience, not replaces it.
Like deleted scenes, alternate endings, or maybe even a short story set in the same world as the book.
Exactly.
I'd feel like such a VIP with those perks.
Right. The guide also mentions giving early access to content.
Oh, interesting. What does that look like?
It could be sharing early drafts with beta readers,
Oh.
or maybe creating a private online group where those early supporters can chat, give feedback, ask questions,
I'm cool.
get sneak peeks. It really builds that sense of community and makes them feel involved.
It's like having a fan club before the book even launches.
Exactly. And this actually ties into the next point in the guide, which is all about storytelling and branding.
Okay,
It emphasizes creating a consistent narrative about you and your work.
gotcha. So it's not just promoting a book, it's about defining who you are as an author,
Right.
what you stand for, what makes your voice unique.
It's about being authentic, relatable, letting your personality shine through.
Right, because when you think about authors who are super successful on social media, it often feels like they're inviting you into their lives.
Exactly.
Their creative process, their struggles, their successes.
And that authenticity builds trust and connection.
For sure. But it's also about being strategic with your brand, right? How do you want readers to see you? What kind of image do you want to project?
Exactly.
It's about consistency.
Yeah.
Long friendships, or even movements that change the world.
Yeah. The possibilities are endless.
It all starts with taking that first step, making that initial connection, that first act of kindness. So to all our listeners out there, we encourage you to take action today. Reach out to someone you admire, offer a word of encouragement to a fellow creator, or just share your passion with the world. You never know what amazing things might happen.
That's so true. And remember, we're all in this together. Let's support each other, encourage each other, and create a world that's filled with creativity, connection, and just like pure joy.
What a beautiful way to wrap things up.
Right.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time for exciting exploration. Until then, keep learning, keep growing, and keep building those connections that matter.
And keep diving deep.
Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're going to be exploring something really interesting.
Okay.
Building a fan base, even before your book comes out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So You know, a lot of times we think about all the marketing and promotion that
This
happens
deep dive
after
is
a book is
definitely for
launched.
you. Stick around.
But this is about
Yeah, we're going to be
laying
getting
the
into
groundwork
like
early on.
not just the surface level stuff.
And our
not just
source
like,
material
oh, these
for this
genres are
deep
popular.
dive
We're going to be talking
is
about
this
why
awesome
they're
guide from
popular,
Malala Media
what
Publications.
makes certain
They lay out
stories
all
really
these actionable
connect with
strategies,
readers. I
and
think
we're
that's
gonna
the
break
most
them down.
interesting part.
I love
For
that.
sure.
It's like
And
flipping
you know,
the
one thing that
script.
the guide really
Exactly.
emphasizes right
Instead
off
of
the bat
scrambling
is
for
just
attention
how
after the launch,
powerful,
you're like
strategically building
genre
this foundation.
is.
Like it's not just from the get. It's about creative and
you know, it's
expressing
really
yourself.
about those early
It's a
connections.
business
They can make
decision.
such a difference.
You know what I mean? For sure.
Right, like
It
this.
actually uses
Okay.
this great analogy
Genre is
of
like a
planting
filter,
seeds for
right?
a
It
flourishing
helps
garden.
readers
I love
find the
that.
books that they
That's
actually
perfect.
read.
Yeah.
It's like if you go
But,
into
you
a
know, let's get
bookstore,
into the why.
each genre
Fan base. We always
where
hear
to
about
go.
word
And
of mouth marketing.
same thing goes for
But is it
online. You're not
really that
gonna,
powerful?
click on a romance novel.
absolutely.
I mean, think
Really
about
looking
it.
for a-
A
Right, right.
dedicated fan
That
base.
makes total sense.
Those-
But there
Those are your
so
biggest
many out
champions.
there.
They're the ones
How
who
do we even
genuinely love your work.
begin for our book?
Actually tell.
Well, that's where the
Tell
whole
everyone they know.
passion
It's
meets
authentic,
market demand
it's
thing
credible,
comes in. That's what the
it's
guide
way
talks
more
about.
Okay,
effective
yeah,
than
passion
like
meets market
any
demand.
paid ad.
So
you
finding
put
that
out there.
sweet spot
And that
between
early
what you're
buzz,
actually excited to write
can
about
be a game
and
changer.
what people actually want to read.
Exactly. It's got to be something that, feels authentic to you, that you're passionate about, but it's also got to be something that readers are looking for. So, for example, like, let's say you love history, but you also love a good mystery.
Okay.
You can write a historical mystery.
Right, right. Like blend those two together. That's cool. And it's so interesting to think about how like each genre really caters to a specific type of reader, you know?
Oh, absolutely.
Like romance readers, they want that emotional connection, that happily ever after.
Yeah.
Thriller fans, they want the suspense, the twists and turns, the protagonist who outsmarts the bad guy.
Exactly. And, understanding what those readers are looking for is so important. Have you ever picked up a book and thought it was going to be one thing,
Oh yeah.
and then it was really different?
Like completely jarring.
Yeah, it's jarring, and you're like, wait, what is going on? Right.
Super disappointed.
That's what you want to avoid as an author. You don't want people to feel tricked.
Right. Especially if you want them to leave you a good review and tell their friends to read your book, right?
Exactly. Word of mouth is everything.
So the guide talks about some of the, I guess, the heavy hitters in the fiction world, like romance, obviously, fantasy, thriller, mystery, all.
Big ones, yeah.
And then on the nonfiction side, there's self-help, memoir, business. Those seem to be doing really well right now.
Yeah, there's always an audience for those,
Sure, for sure. But even though it's to know what's popular, you shouldn't just chase trends, right?
The guide really cautions against that.
Because trends, they come and go.
Yeah.
But your voice, your message, that's what's going to last. So how do we find that balance? Like, what are some of your favorite examples of authors who have been able to, like, combine their interests with what's in demand?
Oh, there are so many good examples. But one that comes to mind, like, right away is The Martian by Andy Weir. It's such a great blend of science fiction and, like, survival adventure, It's so thrilling, but it also makes you think.
Oh, yeah, The Martian. That was such a good book.
It was so good.
And it was so successful, I think, because it tapped into, like, multiple reader interests. It wasn't just one thing.
Exactly.
And that actually gets me thinking, what are you most excited to write about? And how could you combine that with, like, elements of different genres to make something really unique? I'd love to hear what you guys are thinking. Let us know in the comments.
Yeah, share your ideas. We want to hear them.
Yeah. Now, another thing that the guide really dives into is the importance of knowing your audience. Like, really knowing them. And it's not just about knowing their age or where they live.
It's about getting inside their heads,
It's about, like, understanding, like, to read, what their anxieties are, what they're hoping for, what makes them tick,
all of that.
So it's not just about writing a good story.
Right.
It's about writing a good story for a specific group of people.
Absolutely. You got to know who you're writing for.
That makes a lot of sense.
And sometimes, if you want to reach a wider audience, you might even think about blending genres. Like, what if you love romance, but you also love mystery? Can you have both?
Oh, that's interesting.
Can you have your cake and eat it too?
So you're saying you can?
You absolutely can. There are so many examples of books that blend genres really well. Like have you read that one?
I haven't, no.
It's amazing. It's got mystery, it's got coming of age, it's got nature writing, it's got a little bit of everything. And it appealed to a lot of different readers because of that.
Wow, that's fascinating. So it's not about, like, I don't know, boxing yourself in. It's about, like, finding ways to expand your reach while still staying true to what you want to say.
Yeah, exactly. You can be creative with it.
Okay, that's really cool.
It's like, you're taking the best parts of different genres and you're weaving them together to create something that's even more interesting and more engaging for the reader.
I like that. It's like a tapestry or something.
Yeah.
All those threads coming together.
Exactly.
So speaking of reaching a wider audience, our guide, How to Choose the Right Genre for Maximum Book Sales, reminds us that there's this whole world of information out there, like on Amazon, for example. It's like we have this real-time look into what readers are actually into.
Oh, absolutely. Like this bestseller list, that's gold. And you can do keyword research, see what people are searching for, even see what's trending, like seasonally, what's hot right now.
Yeah, it's like having this giant map that's pointing you right to literary gold. But the guide also says, like, don't just chase trends blindly, right? What do you think about that? Have you ever, tried to follow a trend and then it just kind of fizzled out? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear your experiences.
Oh, all the time. Trends are so fleeting,
Yeah.
It's important to make sure that whatever trend you're thinking about, it really fits with your voice and your message. You don't want to be inauthentic.
Right. It's got to be genuine.
Exactly. So one thing that's been really popular lately is all these books about financial independence and mental health and personal development,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And that's because we've had this economic uncertainty, right? And people are really focused on well-being. So those societal shifts, those have a huge impact on what people want to read.
Right. So it's about being aware of those trends, but not letting them totally dictate what you write. What other events or, cultural shifts do you think are readers' choices today?
Well, all this anxiety about the future, I think that's a big one. Dystopian fiction,
Oh, yeah.
climate fiction, super popular right now.
Yeah, definitely.
Because they offer this space to explore all these complex issues and what if scenarios. It resonates with people who are worried about the same thing.
Right. It's like its genres are almost like a reflection of our anxieties and also our hopes for the future, I guess,
Exactly. It's tapping into those fundamental human desires and needs, the need for escape, the need for knowledge, the need for connection.
That makes sense.
And different genres just fulfill those needs in different ways. Think about fantasy and science fiction.
Oh, I love those.
They've been popular for so long. They offer the sense of wonder, of possibility, of worlds beyond our own.
It's like you can escape into a whole other dimension.
Exactly. And then for people who are looking